it because at the time I had shoulder surgery. I had to get 4 pins put in. And the digging was out, because when you're using GPR, you're going to do some digging.
Yep.
But it's amazing some of the things you can find with them. But it's a subject of study. It's either you dig it all, but after a while you'll get the hang of it. And it got to the point I could actually find bottles with it. You can find bottles, big rocks. It's like looking at a piece of wood to a degree, on the side of the wood, the grain. Mm-hmm. And if like something disturbs it, like if a drill went into it, you can basically see where people have been. Matter of fact, it used to be a train station about 100 yards from right where I'm sitting. And we found a trash pit where they were putting all these bottles from the 1800s. The township came in, dug this big hole, I guess, for water runoff or something. We happened to be metal detecting in it, and we found a bunch of nails, and then all of a sudden all these bottles started popping up.
Wow.
So we went through it, and then one day they filled it all back in. And I took the radar over there just to see if I missed anything, and I could see the bottles that I missed down in the bottom of the hole.
Really?
But then it was like 3 feet deep. I wasn't digging 3 feet deep to find new bottles.
Oh,
I had enough of them. But it's pretty neat when you go to like old homesteads, stuff like that, like preferably where their outhouses were. It gives you a view of, if there's anything worth digging down there. Or at least gives you an idea if there's something down there.
Yeah.
Right. What kind of GPR unit? Do you know what the brand or?
It was called a Mala. That was out of Sweden.
Okay.
What you look for is basically favorable soil. New Jersey's was good. Fredericksburg was exceptional. Down in Fredericksburg, I could go from hut to hut and find stuff.
Wow.
But when you get to Culpeper, it's kind of a hit and miss. Sometimes you hit it, and sometimes you don't. But Fredericksburg was definitely exceptional ground for ground radar.
Did you find any? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say Culpeper. There's just so much rocks in the ground. Sometimes you hit it, sometimes you didn't. I remember one time I put these boys on this one spot. I said, I think there's something here. And they said, well, we'll dig it. And I just moved on, and I moved over to another hill way over. And they found a lot of things down there, and they actually come up and said, we wanted you to have this. It was the first bottle we found in the thing. I thought that was mighty nice of them to do that.
That was very sweet. Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
Many other people, they kept everything. But I don't care. I'd usually just ask, I want one bullet. And you didn't see too many of them. Yeah. But what do you call it? A lot of people found a lot of things that we put them on.
Wow.
Trouble, I don't know. Getting up there in age, I didn't feel like digging that deep anymore.
Right.
Metal detecting's fine by me. But
right.
I thought I was pretty good at reading it.
Sounds like you were very good at reading it.
Yes.
To be able to tell those privies and areas to dig in those properties. So, do you have a favorite bottle or a favorite thing that you found in one of the dumps?
Yes. Matter of fact, we have them on display. I got a rare John Gibson in some amber whiskey bottle, and then Cathedral. It's Bitter's Log Cabin.
Nice.
That one's one of my favorites, and then I got a bunch of these clay ones, the ale bottles.
The ginger bottles?
Oh, you know what's really neat is the umbrella inkwells.
Yeah, love those.
With the open panel on the bottom.
Yep. Do you have all the different colored
That was
ones?
pretty neat.
Do you have a couple of a different color to the umbrellas?
Nah, just like the clear one. And cathedral bottles, those are pretty cool. I like them. Pam loves the cathedral bottles. That's her favorite.
Wow.
We display them. She keeps them all clean on herself and stuff. But it's fascinating looking at it, especially when you know it's from that time period. It's actually from the time period the house was built.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, and it's fun just researching the history of some of the stuff that you find. But, the bottles alone, a lot of people don't realize, how much some of those bottles are worth.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know what I mean? Some of them can be, just one bottle can be worth a lot of money.
Yes.
If it's a rare one.
The John Gibson did a little follow-up reading on that, and that's supposed to be a super rare bottle.
Oh, wow.
It's beautiful. I mean, there's like some of the whiskey bottles and stuff we dug down there were all stained and stuff, but there was absolutely no staining on this. That came off of Coles Hill down in Culpeper.
Oh,
that one, and but I got lucky because the people that I let help out dig, I told them they can keep whatever they found, and then the next person goes in. But I got lucky on these two bottles that they were really nice-looking pieces.
Man. Well, Amanda and I love the bottles. We love digging the bottles and the privies and all of that. I was going to ask you, so you mentioned earlier that Pam and you had a metal detecting store before, and that's kind of how you got into the making the tools.
Yes.
You don't have the detecting store anymore, though, right?
Nah. Computer age. Like, we were spending so much time explaining stuff to people, and showing them how to use it. You could actually spend hours with them, miss dinner and everything, and then they said, "I'll just look it up on the internet."
Yeah, they go by. Yep, I get you there. I sell them too for the Digger's Den, and I'll spend so much time with somebody, and then they'll go order it off of Amazon. So yeah, I feel you there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had a brick and mortar store too in Galveston where, same thing, and there's just not a big markup on them either. So and then you got to compete. It's just not worth it. But how did you get into starting what got y'all interested in opening up your metal detecting store?
Just the total interest of it. Love metal detecting.
Just the interest. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what did to me too.
I got to admit, we've met some pretty interesting people. I remember one time I was sitting at the desk, old timer comes in, and he comes up to me and he hands me his handkerchief. He goes, "Open it." I said, "Do I have to?" and I opened it up, and he had about a quarter size 17th century gold coin in there that he found probably 13 miles from where I was sitting. It was beautiful. He found that with a Garrett Freedom Ace. Now, a Garrett Freedom Ace, I don't believe they make that anymore, but in its time, I think it was ahead of its time, and a lot of people liked that machine. We used to sell quite a few of them. It was under $300. It was strictly by sound, but it was a great machine. And that's what he found that gold coin on. Believe me, he could have bought a lot of metal detectors with that gold coin.
Oh, sure.
It was a sweet-looking piece. It was just kind of strange, somebody coming up to you with a handkerchief and telling you to open it. We had one guy. We had a bunch of people working here at the time, and this one guy came. It was like a 2-hour drive, and he opens up these shoe boxes. He's got all these medicine vials. He lived on the beach. All he did was metal detect. I mean, that's all he did. He had like a piece of cotton. You open the cap, it would have a gold diamond ring in there. It'd have a piece of cotton, another gold diamond ring in there, another piece of cotton. It was unbelievable. Gold chains, bracelets. He looked like he had his own jewelry store.
In a shoebox.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? I wish I would have been able to get, into metal detecting way back when, it was funny you mentioned the Freedom Ace. That's basically the machine I started with. I started with a Radio Shack, and then I ended up buying a used Garrett metal detector, the Freedom Ace, at the time, and found the silver ring that I wear still today, kind of as my trophy from back in the day with my first Garrett machine. But it really is a good machine, and I found so much with it. But I can imagine some of these even older than us, older timers. I've seen some of their collections, and it's just mind blowing. The ones that back when the first BFO detectors came out on the market, and what their massive collections. It blows my mind.
Well, it was a good machine at one time was a White's XLT. Like when we used to sell them, we got to play with all kinds of the early metal detectors. We made a point of trying out each and every one. We've seen some, it's got this big markup and stuff. Oh, let me try one. They weren't even worth the wholesale price, let alone. And I had one particular one. I'm not even going to mention the brand, and I just sold it at cost just to get it out of here. I didn't even want to be affiliated with it. But what do you call? Fisher had a CZ6. That was a great machine, and then 1240 or 1260. Right off the top of my head, I can't remember it. I haven't seen one of them in God knows how long. But Fisher, Garrett, they had. I remember one time they had the talking machine. I had one of them at one time. I used that for a while.
The GTI 2500. Yeah. It's funny that you mention all those machines because back in the day, we must have had a store around the same time period. Because when I had my metal detecting store in Galveston, that was the fun thing is like you said, anything on the market, I would get people bring in other machines. They would trade in machines. So I got to try out all those different brands of machines. I had the White's XLT. I had the Fisher's, the 20, all those different machines. And it was fun getting to try them all out. To see what I like, the most.
Well, briefly, after we quit the metal detecting business, we tried one time with XP when they first came out. And we did a little field test, and first thing Pam finds is a silver bracelet that had 15 diamonds in it. They were small diamonds, but it is a beautiful, beautiful piece. One diamond was missing. It would have been 16. But just the same, beautiful piece. We found this in an old homestead. The guy told us we can go in. And I found these old, metal airplanes and stuff for children to play with. It's pretty neat, some of the things you can find. It's a great hobby, and I'm hoping next year to actually put a lot more time into it.
Well, I'm sure making all these Predator tools keeps you so busy that it kind of takes away from your hobby time. That's what you and Pam do full time now, right? Correct?
Yeah, pretty much so, yes.
Okay. Well, we Amanda put your website in chat, so we'll reiterate your website again before we close tonight, but we are getting